Tinnitus or tinnitus is a really hard condition to live with, and for some people it's harder than others. I would say particularly the people that got it later on in life, it's probably the hardest for them, versus if you're somebody who was born with it and it's all you've ever known. That's just a guess on my part, but I think it's an informed guess because people that develop tinnitus later in life at least had a frame of reference for what life was like before the tinnitus and how sweet that silence could really feel. And then all of a sudden one day it's gone forever. It's a fascinating condition to live with, and it is uniquely painful. But it hasn't held me back in life as much as I thought it might. There was a while in the beginning, and I've had it for about 8 years now. Just a non-stop ringing in the left ear, high pitch, never goes away, always there. But I think mentally speaking, I have gotten tougher as a result of it. I was kind of forced to get tougher. I didn't have much of a choice. It forces you to develop as a person and to put up with more than you thought you could put up with. But what I was saying earlier is that it hasn't held me back in life as much as I thought it would. And I say that because I've reached a level of success in this past year that is unexpected. I've achieved leagues more than I ever thought I would with tinnitus, because there have been so many days in the past 8 years where I've just sat in my living room, dwelled inside of the tinnitus, just sat there and listened to it and received it, the full weight of it, like a nonstop tidal wave that just hits you in the face and it never stops. It is a gauntlet, but it hasn't won. It hasn't defeated me, and that's really interesting. I have succeeded in spite of it, and there's a lot to be said for that. I hope if anything comes out of this video, it's that I help other people with tinnitus who are struggling with it, because success is still within reach even with tinnitus. You can still achieve your goals and your dreams. Yes, you might still have tinnitus when you get there, and you're still going to have to endure that high-pitched sound that nobody really truly understands until they get it themselves. But you can enjoy things in this world. You can achieve things and relish in those goals and those fruits, and you can have a nice enough time here on Earth. And I say enough because it's always going to be a pale shadow of what it could be, sadly. I'm not going to beat around the bush. A life with silence would be infinitely better than anything that can come from this existence, but it doesn't mean this existence has to be a total wash either. It's kind of uncertain what kind of message I'm trying to send through this video, because on the one hand, I'm promising a life of happiness and achievement to those who have tinnitus, and that it's within reach. But then in the next breath, I say things like, a life without tinnitus would be infinitely better. I think two things can be true. I'm certain of it. Of course, two things can be true. They are all the time. And in this case, both things are true. You can have a successful life with tinnitus, and also life would be way, way, way better without tinnitus. Two things are true at once. And am I ever going to stop searching for a cure? Absolutely not. It's my life's mission. I didn't want it to be my life's mission, but it's become it. It was foisted upon me. And so here I am. My ultimate goal in life, beyond all other achievements, by a mile, is to remove the sound from my left ear. It's very simple. This is the hand I've been dealt, and so I have to put myself in a position, financially, where I can easily try different things and check off the boxes on a list. Because you see, I've tried so many things already. I've gotten stem cells, I've been inside of oxygen chambers, I've done so many ridiculous, goofy, wacky things to try and cure my tinnitus, and nothing ever worked, obviously. But that's because I was delusional and desperate for my silence to be returned to me. Silence. I feel like not every video needs to be goal-oriented. I'm not promising you any one thing out of this video other than just me rambling about my lived experience. And I'm hoping that's enough for you to stick around. I want to motivate people to achieve their goals in life, but I also want to vent about the life that I've lived. And through that venting, maybe you will find little nuggets of wisdom, and I hope that you do. But I also want you to experience the full spectrum of what I have to offer. And part of that spectrum includes life with tinnitus and the suckiness of it. The suckiness of tinnitus. It's not an easy test, and I think it might be a test. I think it might be a test from somewhere distant. Can never prove it, of course. You know how I reason about these things is that a doctor, and I've been to several of them, has never given me an adequate explanation for my tinnitus, and so why shouldn't I just come up with my own explanations at this point? Hey, maybe it's an alien implant. Who's to say otherwise? Oh, you have a better theory? What, dead hair cells in the ear? You think that's more compelling? Can you show them to me? No, you can't show them to me. There's no microscope that'll show me those dead hair cells you theorize about. Show them to me. And then compare them to the hair cells in my right ear and show how those are longer than the ones in my left ear. And then and only then will I start to open myself up to that possibility that that is the reason for my tinnitus. But until then, I have a catalog of different theories, some of which are very esoteric and frankly psychotic. But the mind enters strange territory as it fumbles around desperately for an answer to something that clearly has no answer. And so maybe it's an alien implant, and maybe, just maybe, it's a type of targeting. I don't know. Maybe it's being beamed into my head from somewhere remote. Just as valid a theory as any. But anywho, yes, it's an agonizing sentence to impose on anybody. So I guess as I'm rambling here, I need to really decide, do I want the overall message to be hopeful or pessimistic here? Because I find myself wavering between both. I think overall I'd like to leave you with a message of hope, even if the journey there has been a bit pessimistic. And that message would be, find something that you're really passionate about and lean into it heavily. Become obsessed with one of your hobbies or your interests. Make a business out of it. And then focus on it intensely throughout the day. And you will find that you start to think about your tinnitus less and less. I think it's the combination of obsessive work and working on something you're obsessed with. When you pair those two things together, it starts to cure the tinnitus temporarily. And cure is a dangerous word because it implies permanent long-term cessation of symptoms. But I don't mean it that way. I wish I did. But at least for long stretches of your day, you will find relief from the condition if you focus intently on something you enjoy. And it really helps too if it's part of your business, because then you're doing both at the same time. You're working and you're playing. And wouldn't that be an awesome position to be in? But I've found a way to make that my life. And I tell you, that flow state is unlike any other flow state. It is special. To work on something you love, it is a special flow state, and you forget the world around you, including tinnitus, including a lot of things actually. It can be a little destabilizing to other things in your life if you are seeking balance, but it's kind of just up to the individual. You need to decide what you want out of life. I love to make AI videos a lot. As an artist, it is so infinitely gratifying to bring the imaginations in my head directly into the world in record time, which is chiefly what AI is so good at. But yes, tinnitus, doesn't matter how you say it. Some people think it's pronounced a certain way instead of the other, but you can say either one. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Why does there have to be a correct pronunciation for every little thing? Tinnitus and tinnitus are the same darn thing. Choose your poison. You know, if any of my viewers here are currently living with tinnitus, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to share your experience down in the comments and tell me what it's been like to succeed in business or with anything in life in the presence of tinnitus, and how it's held you back or how it's even empowered you. Just what it's been like. I want to get more tinnitus folks up in here talking about life through the unique lens of a tinnitus haver. And it is unique. It's impossible to convey the weight of the condition to anyone who doesn't have it, period. And occasionally I like to find a video on YouTube which sort of simulates the sound, and I'll just show it to a friend, and after 5 seconds, not even, they'll be like, okay, turn it off. I'm like, okay, well, 5 seconds is a new record for you, but try 8 years. And then we'll have a longer discussion about it. It's a wild thing to live with, bro. And I think about it constantly. And for that reason, I have so much to say about it. It's constantly on my mind. And it has taken a lot of strength to suppress it and to not constantly talk about it, because I used to constantly talk about it. It's the type of thing that is constantly vying for your attention and competing with other forces in your life for the top spot of your attention. And it never shuts up. It never shuts up about it. And for that reason, I always have something to say about tinnitus. It's incredibly boring. It's incredibly mind-numbing and just distracting. Unbelievably distracting. In my last job, I would have these meetings with my boss, and I would just sit there as he's talking to me, fighting for my life to try and process everything he was telling me through the thick filter of tinnitus. It takes an extra level of mental processing, whereas previously it didn't take much to process language, but now it's an extra step. And I did feel bad about it, even though there's nothing I could do about it. But I felt bad that I couldn't fully understand everything he was saying to me. I could understand it, I just couldn't process and synthesize it in my head in the best way. It took longer for me. It's a disability. It limits you. It holds you back from optimal performance. And I know this because I used to perform optimally when I didn't have tinnitus. And so it's absolutely a disability. It's an invisible one, sure. But when people tell you they have it, you need to take them seriously. I know that you can't measure or observe what they're talking about, and that's unfortunate, but you need to take them seriously because those people are carrying the weight of the world on their backs. And they deserve to be heard very badly. And they deserve a cure. We all all deserve a cure. God only knows if that cure will ever come. Maybe AI will help us figure it out. That would sure be nice. You want to wonder why I'm such an AI maximalist? It's because I want it to help us cure tinnitus. First and foremost, I'm an accelerationist in every sense of the word. I want to accelerate the development and the maturity of artificial intelligence so that it can help us cure diseases just like tinnitus and free me from this prison, dog. This cacophony. So many people, millions and millions of people are living silently, although to them it isn't silent, with this condition which is a cacophony. It's an orchestra from hell that just plays and plays in the ear and plays its tune, and the conductor never sleeps and never gets tired. And, well, I think I'll draw the video to a close here, and I realize it's been a perfect mixture of hope and non-hope, but that's just the nature of being, isn't it? Nothing is perfectly happy, nothing's perfectly sad. We're always finding ourselves in the middle, weaving in and out of the good and the bad, constantly struggling to maintain homeostasis in a consistent middle ground. But above all, I hope you've enjoyed this transmission, and I hope on some level you've found it enjoyable, for whatever reason that might be, because that's all I really want. I want you to enjoy what I have to say, and I want it to resonate in whatever way you see fit. And so I'll catch you later. I love y'all. Have a great weekend. It's a beautiful day out. Go outside. Go for a run. I know I should be. Have a good weekend, folks.